Rastas have always been marginalised, and I think within this pandemic, even more so, because of the lockdown and because of the isolation and the people with underlying health conditions. There is a danger that Rastafari will be more at risk of slipping through the net, if you like. And so, people have been talking about, black and ethnic minority communities as if BAME is just one thing, and they've lumped it all into one thing, this BAME, whereas there are actually differences within our communities and between our communities. There's differences within and between, and when it comes to Rastafari, as I said before, they've always been marginalised, and even more so during this pandemic. People have not necessarily thought about our culture and our way of life and our liberty and our food and our diet and what we eat and how we eat it. And so it's been really difficult. And when we go out to buy our food, it's like 3, 4, 5 times the cost that it was before. And so like I say, I went out to buy some peppers, and whereas before, you can get a whole bowl for £1, I was being charged like 5 or 6 for £5. And so some of our food has tripled in price, and so we're already at risk, and we're already at risk, and then not to be able to go and afford to actually buy food. You're double, triple at risk already. You're already 4 times at risk, and then you can't even afford to buy your own food to sustain yourself. And so that's why the Rastafari movement UK have established the food and distribution, because we want to address that. But even in terms of addressing that, when we're appealing and we're going to meetings, we're having meetings, and again, there's this feeling of, that you're being stigmatized again, and that, we're having to, I find that I'm having to justify myself in meetings by emphasizing that, all right, forget about what I look like on the outside. I have, a degree, 2 degrees, masters, qualified journalists. We know about things. We are qualified people. We're lawyers, we're doctors, and we recognize that our community needs the assistance during this pandemic. We don't need you to tell us to give you the people that we've identified, so that you can give them a standard food parcel with food that they don't eat, that is not relevant to their culture, that is going to end up being wasted. We need to be able to keep that connection, that trust, with our community, and provide for them ourselves, because we know what the food means. We know how what it means in terms of how the food is prepared, if it's cooked food, and all of those things, and the things that are being bought and distributed by the government or the standard agencies. It's not necessarily relevant to the or it's not always relevant to the black community, unfortunately. There's another project that I work on, and I've had to advocate to make sure that we get what we call cultural food, because the people that are coming to use the service have specific needs and specific diets, and they don't all eat pasta and some of these standard things that are provided in these standard food parcels. They actually enjoy fresh ingredients, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and fresh products that they can actually cook themselves. One thing I would say with the black community is that we enjoy cooking. We actually enjoy cooking, as opposed to some of the the other standard products that you would find in a standard food parcel. I come across barriers even in terms of negotiating what we need, because people are looking at us as what they see in front of them, and they can't actually get past the physical what they're seeing in front of them. You know, they can't put two and two together to hear what we're saying and how we're articulating, but they're just busy looking at, you know, who they think we are.
They're kind of just caught up with that. They can't see past that, because wow, why are they not looking how we want them to look? Do you know what I mean? We kind of perplex them even, you know? And then when we start drumming and chanting, it's all over. When it comes to the Nyabingi, it's all over.